that something has really, something is done and it just kind of feels like you're not wanting to let it go. You know, it's you keep trying to, you know, it's like, okay, if I just keep doing the things I'm doing, it'll eventually come out the way I know it should come out. But the reality is, no. You're gonna have to just let something go. This is saying this is the end of a phase. The ten of Swords is like, okay, it's dead, it's buried, it's done. You cannot bring it back. Whatever it might be. You know, sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's, you know, it's ideas. You know, something that you want, that you were planning for, that you were hoping would happen, is just not. You know, and there's really nothing you can do. It may not have anything to do with what you did. There's just things happening that you have to just acknowledge. Okay, I can't fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, one of the things that, you know, this embattlement is just trying to, it just feels like you've been working really, really hard without a sense of accomplishment. Partly because you're not really focusing on working really hard, but you haven't really sat down and looked at and revised your goal. What do you want? You know, really, why are you working this? What are you doing this for? What's the reason for it now? Because, you know, 5 years ago may have been what you wanted 5 years ago, may not be what you need anymore. And it's kind of time to revise. You know, let's look at something. This is saying, and look how bright this side is. So you have some things that are in store for you if you just are willing to let go of the old stuff to make room for something new. King of Wands is all about, now, Wands often have to deal with what you're doing. Sometimes it's your job, but it's all about, you know, making things work. You know, putting energy into something that's either your work or your play, or just creating something. And there's, you know, the King of Wands says there's an offering here. We got something for you, but you have to be willing to accept. Okay. This is all about, let's look for something new. And again, that thing about being out of balance is because you've been doing things, and even though it may be working, you haven't really evaluated lately, do you really want it now? I mean, why are you working this and just working when you haven't really stopped and looked at it and see where are you going with all this work? You know, where are you headed? And this is saying, let's look and use your strengths. The strength card is all about, what are your strengths? You know, what are the things that you do that no one else can do the way you do them?
I love writing.
Okay? So let's start focusing on doing the things that you do that bring you a sense of, again, inspiration, that inspires you, that gets the juices going. And start doing that, and starting out on that new path, rather than continuing to do stuff that is just not working for you. Because, and not because you're not doing them well, but because they don't give you anything back. You know, you're spending a lot of energy and not getting much back.
Okay.
Personally, you know, and a sense of accomplishment. So let's focus on doing something that gives you your own personal sense of accomplishment. And then everything that you're doing will start falling into balance again. So you're good at doing and making it look easy. Now let's do something for you that really feeds you. That's creative.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I'm going to let you pull 4. First of all, pull 1 and put it right in the middle. You pulled the blank. The 1 blank.
Is that good?
Well, the blank is, this is called weird, and it says, you know, it's all up to you. You know, it's like the energy will be with you, whatever you're doing. But it's all up to you. What direction do you want to go? So let's pull another one and put it right on the top. Begin something new. This is Berthos. It says, let's start something new.
Okay.
It's not necessarily totally new, but it's something you've maybe been thinking about, but have not made that leap. You know, it's something that you may have thought about it and you're thinking, but you haven't really put it into use yet. You haven't started it. Berthos says, let's start. Let's start something new. All right, pull another. Put it right here. Okay, haggle. Haggle is all about, it's haggle, but it's hate. It's like, you can't control everything. You know, you can be the very best farmer in the world and you did everything right, and the night before your crops came in, it hailed on everything and destroyed it all, and it was totally not personal. What this is saying is, you can't wait for the right moment. There is no such thing. Okay? If you're waiting for something, you know, well, you know, I'm not going to start this until I get this paid off, or I'm not going to do this until this happens, or until I finish that. And what it's saying is, you know, you really don't have, if you're waiting for the perfect moment where everything's going to just fall into line and be perfect, that's never going to happen.
Is it about my job?
Pardon?
Is it about my job?
Well, in this, we'll pull another one. Let's see. What is it about?
What's in the hotel?
Yeah, let's put it down. Well, this says that if you were talking about your job, this is ice, and it's like nothing's going to change there. There's not a big change. So it's not particularly about your job. But unless you make some changes, you have the control to make changes, but you don't have control from outside forces. Okay, you can only change what you have control of. You can't change, you know, you can't have control of what the boss does or etc. But this says, you know, that it's you're focused on your job, and you pull this up and it says, you know, looks like it's pretty solid.
That's good.
Yeah. All right, pull another and put it here. All right, this is another. Let's do some, you know, some movement here. So what you have is, let's look at all of it together.
Okay.
All right. You've been doing some things that you're comfortable doing, that you're good at it. Okay, it's not like you're not good at it, but it's not really giving you much in return. It's not feeding your creativity. So it's saying take up something that feeds you creatively, and don't wait to do that. That you're in a position. It doesn't look like there's anything in jeopardy. I mean, ice here is like, okay, if you're worried, the job didn't seem to be, it's not going to make any big changes. The changes you're concerned with is in your personal life, how to make something creative happen. How to feed that creative energy. And so we're focusing on doing something that is different, something that feeds you, something that you really enjoy doing and gives you a sense of accomplishment. And that's the only thing that's in your control. Is what you choose to do personally. You don't have any control over outside forces, but you do have control about how you spend your time. And pull one more. Okay, this is all about working in concert with other people. And doing something in a group, or so it's not a solitary thing we're looking at. So either joining a group that you've been thinking about joining that you just haven't decided. You haven't made the commitment to move into an area that you have been thinking about, but you're kind of waiting for the right time for it to happen. So there seems to be, first of all, there's a couple of things going on here. Okay. This is, when I'm looking at this is almost all about because of the strength part is here, this is about your own it's not particularly about your job per se, but it is about what you do, how you spend your time.
I like writing songs.
Well, then you need to make a commitment to set aside a time where you do it. Don't just think about it, but actually sit down and do it. And this is that creativeness. You have a strength here. This tells me, strength, and this is saying let's just get started. Don't wait until the right moment. Start writing. Because everything says you have the ability to do it. Now, it doesn't. There's no pinnacles here. So it's not like the cards are not saying if you write a song you're gonna get rich. Okay, it's saying feed your creativity. Do something that gives you a sense of accomplishment, rather than just doing stuff that just is the same old.
Okay.
So and this is saying let's start something new. Don't worry about the right moment, but do something that gives you that sense of I've accomplished something. And also now, because this was here too, it also says that you should not all do everything by alone. If there is something that you should join, whether it's maybe a songwriters group or a group of people that are of like minds, that help to inspire you. And I know the writing itself is a solitary process, but sometimes getting with others who have that same kind of energy, the energy feeds on itself. You know, songwriters are with other songwriters, you know, and with musicians.
Yeah.
And so put yourself into the music so that that the energy feeds you rather than trying to do this all by yourself.
Okay.
So, you know, join a group of other songwriters or get with musicians that you play an instrument. If you're a songwriter, you probably do.
Some of it. I would mainly do the lyrics.
Okay. So find a group that helps that creative process. So it is saying this is the time to do it. You know, and that. So if you're gonna juggle body, mind, and soul is all about body, mind, and soul. Let's feed. You know, do what you have to do to maintain all the creature comforts. That's the body. The mind is, let's do something that's interesting, that keeps you on your toes, you know. But the soul is what feeds you, what gives you that energy, you know, what inspires you. And all three you have to do, and they're all important. So if you're just busy feeding, you know, doing the stuff you have to do to pay the bills, you know, then that's not feeding your soul. So, but it does say, let's join a group. Let's not keep on doing the same old, same old. This is like same old, same old. You're not getting anywhere. And it doesn't give you a sense of accomplishment. And it doesn't feel like this is your work. This feels like something you should be doing for yourself to make you feel good about yourself.
Okay.
To give you that sense of accomplishment of, you know, how do you identify yourself?
I don't know.
Okay. You know, when I was teaching, it was like, I'm a teacher. Now I'm a musician. I'm a singer. Okay. But again, if someone asks you, what do you say you're a songwriter?
Not really.
So what do you do for a living?
Retail.
Retail.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it inspiring?
Not really.
All right. So you're paying the bills. You're doing what you have to do to pay the bills. But you're not doing anything to feed your soul. You're not doing anything to feed that inspiration that makes you feel like, you know, doing something that, you know, when you start doing something, the time just runs. You forget to eat. You forget what time it is. You've been so wrapped up in this that time goes away, and it's just when you're done with it, it's like, oh, look what I did. Okay. And that's what you have to do for yourself.
Okay.
All right. And it's a good time for you to do that.
Okay.
And that's all it's saying is, you know, spend some time for yourself and do something inspiring. And look into maybe finding a group that helps you. You know, sometimes a meeting with other people where you talk out things, you know, well, I had this problem with this, and well, I was in the middle of this, and that, it just kind of inspires you to move forward yourself.
That's cool.
All right?
Okay.
All right.
Oh.